Honorable sisters, brothers, and friends, that was part 3, and this is part 4. There are so many powerful issues that if I don't say it from a prepared, itemized list in chronological order, trying to rush to get it done and get it done in 50 minutes, because after I complete this, I'm going to do what's most important for me, and my main interest and challenge is the discipline of theology. They don't call me, and I am not preacher doc because I want to sound religious. I prove anything I present, and these are the true facts. So when I play them over again or stop and think about it, yeah, I said, I'll correct any mistake I ever made. But it's a detail. The important thing is the critical true fact. Like I said, Augusto de Beso. No, it's Augusto de Preto, Olinto de Preto's brother, who worked for Uncle Beso, who was the father of Michael Beso, who Einstein made the one little mistake that they told me, it's your word against his. Like they used to say, you ain't got a chance. See, I use now regular words. I don't prefer that. I prefer precise, professional mathematical physics presentation and proofs of the validity of what I present. You understand? How come my word against Hoover? My word against Einstein? Well, he made one little mistake. He did give one reference. Michael Beso is on his original papers signed by his wife, Maliva Marek, who only signed official papers by her Slovakian birth name. I can prove anything I present. Now, let's get to, therefore, if this is the truth, who really am I? Well, in the USA, I'm now preacher doc. I have a little website called Universal Pure Christians. It's taking the best of all religions and presenting what I consider to be why in the discipline of theology, how did we get here? Why are we here? What best to do? Now, what best to do for me at the completion of this calendar year is that I've tried everything. I've been forced into various countries under various conditions, survived. We're in this country and other countries where I at most could figure maybe I could survive a week or by a day. Because, in that cloak and dagger business, it's very, very bad. Now, I want to then now I'll try to go chronologically what I have left to present. And that was J.Edgar Homo Hoover set up President Kennedy to be assassinated, knowing that then he has the power to investigate. So he's going to investigate his setup of assassinating President Kennedy, which I knew he was going to do. And of course, he had somebody point a gun right up my head. But when he didn't shoot, I says, well, that criminally insane Homo Hoover is letting me know I'm on borrowed time. And after the day after Kennedy was shot, a taxi came by and a window was rolled down and it was Hoover with a skunk drunk. Laughed in my face, the window went up and he left. Just like somebody said, hey, I was at a hotel room where it was Hoover dressed up as a girl, it was called Mary, but it was Hoover. From what I saw, it was Hoover laughing in my face. What could I do? Well, now I'm in the LA area, in a city north of LA. When Bobby comes here to get elected, McCarthy, Scholarly McCarthy, is leading. Well, I gradually got their confidence and gradually attended his brain trust sessions conducted by his brother-in-law, Steve Smith. Now, he's not alive now. But I can prove what I say with Ethel Kennedy. You, and especially you that maybe are Hooverists, cover-up artists, paid, negative knocking nerds, going to try to say I'm a liar or degrade what I'm saying. You're going to say Ethel Kennedy would lie. She would remember yours truly. I use a technique calling you pin. You can't stop them, but you can pin them where they take and stop and then talk to you. And I introduced myself and I told her my name. She'll remember me and how I looked. And then I told her, well, I think Bobby will win. And then she relaxed and started smiling. But she was pregnant. I couldn't tell her, hey, you've got to tell Bobby they're going to knock him off. She would scream. They'd grab me. Nobody ever see or hear me again. If they didn't get him that night, they get him another night. Do you understand? I was there risking my life to keep them from keeping Hoover from knocking off now president-to-be Bobby if he could debate. If he doesn't, he's not going to win, in my opinion. So when nobody said anything, then I stood up and said, well, and of course they realized there was the beginning of the debate at the presidential level. Do I have to remind you of that? And now, Bobby being his brother, he has a debate. In my opinion, Scholarly McCarthy will say, this is who I am, scholarly and so forth, and I will do for you when I get in Washington. Bobby then has to debate, well, yeah, I'm Senator Robert Kennedy, Jack's brother, and I will continue his good policies, and when I get to Washington, I will do for you what I promise. And the people will say, yeah, he will, and they will vote for him, and I think he can win that debate. Long pause, but then they say, okay, he has to debate. He won. Now all he has to do is keep alive. Now I take the chance of Hoover grabbing me. I go into Bobby's room, and there's nobody there. And I put a card under his pillow. When he goes to bed at night and moves that pillow, he's going to say, Bobby, you're going to win, but you have to be careful. See, nobody knows who I am and what I've achieved. They have control of the press. They have forcibly taken my science and inventions and made me a nobody struggling to stay alive and gutter fighting. That I've survived barely 6 accidents, a bullet going by me, professionals, leaving a board where I stepped on a board at a high elevation, I would fall and on rebars below and get killed. Absolute true facts. No. For Bobby then, I went to him and I face to face and talked to him real polite, scholarly, and said, well, in my opinion, you have to stick by the itinerary. Somebody got to him. So he tried to avoid me. I says, hey, I think Hoover is definitely not going to let him be president and might knock him off and someplace, and maybe tonight. And from what I see, it might be tonight. So I'll take the chance. I walked him. Well, meanwhile, they were in a group outside the presidential suite, Ambassador Hotel. And there was only one girl there. And she got next to me. And then I was joking with her, and I says, hey, you know, I think he's going to win. And they could all hear me. So when we party, you got to have at least one dance for me. And she put her head on my shoulder. She says, okay. So I think it was Sandy Van Oker. Now, I think Sandy Van Oker might still be alive. I think it was Sandy Van Oker says, hey, get that Casanova. So they all start laughing. But Bobby wouldn't laugh. Bobby, somebody's gotten to you, Bobby. So I took the chance. I walked up to him and I says, you know, I'm Joseph Castellano. I didn't use Doc then. I'm Joseph Castellano. I was with your brother-in-law, Steve Smith, and you had the debate, and you're going to win, and you will. I think you can win. I think you will win. But I put it politely. I even used fancy terms. I said, and then when you celebrate, you'll come back, keep the itinerary, and come back these circular stairs, and we'll all celebrate. To my surprise, he didn't say a word. He turned and went into the presidential suite. What the heck's going on here? I'm under this pressure with so great. Everybody follows him. I'm in the hall. I'm out there alone. And here comes this vivacious young lady, Ethel Kennedy. So I pinned her, as how you do it, and introduced myself and got her to trust me, and then joke, and then smiling she left. Well, I opened the door and looked in there. Took the chance that somebody say, what are you doing here? Because if Hoover grabbed me, nobody ever see or hear me again. They can say or do anything about me because I just had to bounce back and forth, whatever I could survive, whatever I'm supposed to be. You know, what they say I am, or how they frame me and force me in situations. They pick the worst of two situations, you see. And when I looked in there, I didn't like what I saw. So I waited. Now, that's when I told them. That's when I told them they were walking down the stairs, all of them. And I looked at them, and I can remember his brother Ted was there, and of course Ethel and and those around. And I said, "Oh, you're going to win, Senator Kennedy, and come back these circular stairs, and we'll celebrate." And they all stopped, and then he smiled a little, and they went. Then he takes. Why didn't I follow him? Because, Bobby, you do it my way, they got to get me first. But I can't get myself killed because you want to listen to Hoover, your rich buddies. All right, they've got my honors and my money, but I'm telling you, I'm talking to you like a father, Bobby. No, he went with the rich and Judas Hoover got a Judas goat to lead him through a commercial kitchen. What are they doing in a kitchen? They chop things down, don't they? Bobby. So that's why there was 2 guns in all those shots, because Hoover never figured that Bobby would be not let me walk behind him, because Bobby, then they got to get me first before they get you. I'm talking to you like a father. Understand what I'm saying? I can't really say Hoover's going to shoot you maybe tonight. You will turn on me, and nobody will ever see me again. And then maybe even later they'll shoot you, but by that time it's too late for me. Do you understand? They have, by the law of God's and man's rights, civil rights, the rights for the Constitution, the Bill of Rights that says a man's work is his, absolutely his. That Xerox, full electric copier, lightification, electromagnetic radiation, that laser, I said, is a futuristic, multi-purpose, coherent beam. And the first thing I did was to help sightless people with my great science and invention. That's the truth. I request that I be publicly known and obtain the honors and reasonable compensation that I really need. I have injuries. I need back surgery. I'd be a pleasant gentlemanly preaching preacher doc, but I have to grin and bear it, and I say, those who believe the course of truth, thank you and God bless.